there, Shawna here. This is the second part to a two-part series on a past life reading. So part one is the actual history, the story of the past life. And this is part two, so this will be the life overlap, which means we will go from that past life story into the present life with this king and queen and see where they are at today. And if you resonate with the king or queen, and again, this could be in masculine energy that flips to feminine. Your feminine energy can flip to masculine. You could have been the male in a past life or a female in the past life, regardless of where you're at today. So keep that in mind. Open your mind up to absorb that, because it may explain some energetic feelings underneath the undercurrent underneath all of this. And again, my hopes here is to help heal and elevate the soul and learn your lessons through this process. So here we go into part two, and I just start diving into the cards. So enjoy, take your time, and let your emotions flow. And if you learn something by it, so be it. And if you don't, then just let it float by as some form of entertainment. So here we go into part two, the reading. We're going to start out with the Romance Tarot to bring us into the present day. And even though the pictures and whatnot, the visuals are somewhat from that era, this is going to bring us up to where the energies sit for this king and queen, because it's the king and queen that are main characters here that we want to address and we want to catch up with. So I pre-shuffled, but I'm going to shuffle some more here a little bit to bring that energy up to snuff, up to where we, exactly what's going on here in the present moment. I usually do a 3-card reading, a past, present, and a future, just to give me timelines as to where this sits. And sometimes it's highly in the field, and sometimes it's loosely there. So I'll shuffle a couple more times here, and then I'll start to bring them out. Here we go. So the first card, again, if this resonates with you, stick with it and we'll see where we are today. I'm going to lay 3 cards first. We might even go 6 here is what I'm saying. 2 rows of 3. Alright. So the first card that we get from the Romance Tarot for this past life couple is the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands talks about great passion, and the seasons in the background speak of over time. We may have a great passion for someone over time. They're showing me the king here. We have great, humongous, is the word they gave me. I never used that word. Humongous feelings for someone that we don't quite understand in this lifetime. And this, again, would be explained by this story. On the top of this wand, if you will, as a couple being intimate. Now, we could have either visions of being intimate with this person, or we could have a strong force to want to be intimate with this person, or we could have been intimate with this person. But either way, if we've been intimate with this person, it's something we're floating off the vibes of at this point. I feel a great removal of this energy from our life at this point. This is past energy. There was a point where we were communed together, is what they said. Next card we have is the 7 of Canes. This is interesting because this came across in the readings. I don't know, I think it was the love readings. That just went up on Rumble here. Not the blue ones are work. The red or pink is going to be about love. And the white or yellow is going to be about spiritual. So, the energy here is of reunion. So, now, again, different people will be on different levels of this. happening or not happening, depending on their life path. Now, the Seven of Canes is about reuniting. I feel like somewhere along the line here in the present, could be just our recent past, could be our now, and it could be our immediate future. We're going to reunite with this energy in one way, shape, or form. Now, we got to watch this whole twin flame and energetic, telepathic stuff, because there's a lot of infiltration there, but it could be in that way energetically as well. So we could have dreams coming into our view of a person that we were intimate with or we want to be intimate with. There is great and wonderful feelings at some point from both ends here. And it was someone that we felt highly attuned to. So there's that in the present. And as we move into the future card, we get the Four of Pentacles. Now, this is interesting because this brings on a new energy. Okay. So this woman is being admired by someone from afar. So that means a secret admirer. That's come through the readings as well. Someone is looking upon her quite fondly. The sense is I want to get to know her, but I'm scared. I'm hiding behind this pillar in this bush. I could jump back at any moment if she turns her head. But right now I want to keep looking at her. Because she's beautiful and she's wonderful and I love her and da-da-da. Now, I do not feel that that man is the king. But this woman might be the queen. Okay? So there's someone here looking quite fondly upon this queen's energy. From the past, she's very much in her energy in the present. Okay, they're giving me the okay for 3 more cards here before we move on to the Dreamer's Tarot. Okay, I'm going to pull 3 more to expand. Because the first card, this passion from afar too, I feel is very much the King's energy. Where it's going, I don't know. Maybe that's what will validate. Second one is the meeting. And it could be, they say this could be memories of a meeting. It could be just the energy of the meeting and whatnot is highly prevalent at this time. Again, we could be being aroused to these emotions from our past life. They could be coming in dreams. They could be coming in clairvoyant downloads, all of this. And then we have an energy of this queen being looked upon by someone here who's very meek and wanting to come in. So on top of the Ace of Wands, again, this is about great passion and excitement in the personal areas, right? Again, someone may be fantasizing about us quite highly. And again, they said that's the King's energy. So on top of that card, what do you know? We get the King of Cups. Wow. Great emotion along with passion is what I get here. Because the ability for the energy of the King of Cups to come out here, he is, yeah, and I make this reference from this card. Like every deck has a depiction of what they kind of wrap it around the tarot framework, but they all have different graphics, different scenarios that they work with. And this particular card, this particular Knight of Cups, he is very loyal. In his emotional center, he's very loyal to one person. And I feel like that's that person that we are focused on. We have great passion for. We have a great, ability to care for from our heart center. So that's being highly upheld here. So not only a physical passion, which would be the Ace of Wands, but an emotional passion that is grown to a high degree. So on top of the Seven of Canes, again, the meeting of this couple, at some point it could have been past, present, or in the future. There's a great energy of reuniting and the recognition of our souls on a level. So it can be a new meeting with someone, but our souls recognize, right? Our souls recognize. So it's I feel a great rejoicing, and I feel from above as well. It's very, it's like it's faded, but not necessarily happen, or it could have in the past not happened. Okay, not this past life. I know I don't want to get, overlaying too many layers here, but the sense they're giving me is after that lifetime, we may have had a few lifetimes here where we're put together on Earth to try and find each other and we weren't successful. So there's an rejoicing energy, not only from the couple, but from the universe above. Cupid's going, yeah, we got them together. They finally connected. And this is what I'm getting. This will be highly felt by one or both parties. I feel like the masculine's going to feel it more, frankly. I feel like the feminine, there's somehow a little bit of a veil here to that right at that time. Though they will feel groovy, they just may not feel it in the way that the king is feeling it. So on top of that card, we get the Knight of Wands. Or the King of Wands, sorry. Illuminated. Yeah. They're wanting me. They said the word here for this king is illuminated. But he's sitting back. He's not very aggressive. Like the King of Wands usually is quite... He goes after something, he gets it, he attains it, da-da-da. But the sense I get here is from this guy, and that energy always comes up for me in readings, is I'm sitting back and waiting for things to come to me. So in an ego sense, I deserve, you serve me. This is what I get. Now, the illumination is the word they gave to put the energy upon this card. So if this man is illuminated, he may be illuminated to that partnership, but he may still have an ego that says, you serve me, I'm not serving you, this kind of thing. And again, on top of all of that karmic retribution that has to come through, that may not wash energetically. Now, as we move on to the Ace of Pentacles, again, a woman being admired from afar. What do we get there? We have the Page of Pentacles. And they're saying this is the same element, this is the same man. So what they're saying is there's a man here who is trying to build up his financial steadiness, his sturdiness in the financial direction in order to come to her. That's why he's so sheepish, because he doesn't feel solid in the financial sector. He's not quite where he wants to be, and that hinders him coming forward to this woman because he wants to present everything to her, is kind of the sense that I get. And again, she's unaware for the most part. So there's the characters. Now, again, this person looking upon, that is the queen, but it is not the king in this life. There is someone here secretly admiring the queen, but the queen seems to be on her own. This man is, I feel like he wants to come forward to her, or is very curious about her, or he is just, in the throes here of building up to come to her, is the sense that I get. And then there's this King of Wands. That is the king's energy, is the sense I get. Now, this is interesting because these two cards, they conflict quite highly with me. The King of Cups and the King of Wands. Two completely different characteristics. The King of Cups is loyal, loving. He has a lot of emotional smarts, if you will. Like, he's emotionally sound. So he has all the tools to deal with any type of woman, is the sense, and we deal with them with grace and dignity. He's a king after all. In his emotional center, he's mastered this. The interesting thing about this King of Wands is I feel he's in reverse. I feel he's not in charge of his life where he goes out and gets what he wants. In fact, he may be stopped from doing this at this time because he may be in his ego. He may have a hard time with people saying no to him, and that may make him very angry. He may have anger issues. But again, there's an energy here of the universe illuminating him to these issues. It is his choice to deal with them or not as we go forward. So now we're going to get into what card? We're not going to get into the masculine and feminine yet, are we? Yeah, they're showing me the Isis card. So there's a lot of weird stuff that can come from these. So we'll get into those, and then we'll get into the masculine and feminine. So the Isis cards can bring me back, and they can bring up a lot of other worldly spiritual stuff. So I like them for my spiritual readings. So we'll see where they bring us here in the story. So at this present moment, just to recap, we have the queen by herself being admired by someone outside of her, but also the queen has met the king in this lifetime, but they are not currently with them, but the king is being illuminated to the connection from this past life. So the king is developing desire beyond belief for this queen that is kind of, we don't know this queen enough. Why do we have all these feelings like it's more than I've ever felt for anybody, da 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 da. This kind of thing. So that's the thing. And also I get a sense of an ego here that is needing to be balanced out, that is overbalanced in the wrong way. So this is something that either the king is working on himself, or the universal energies are illuminating him to these problems in his sphere right now. So there could be eruptions in this area of ego in order to get him to balance that out more properly. Because they're going, we will not let him forth to the queen unless he is in deserving energy. And this is not balanced yet, is what I get. Now it's interesting because they're talking about emotional balance, but this would be the king in his ideal state. At this time, he has not taken charge of his emotions to the point we cannot be angered. So that's unhealing, right? We're not healed in areas of love and whatnot, and especially in areas where we have women coming forward to us, confronting us with energies. We cannot, we feel that we need women to serve us, is what I'm getting. And this energy needs to be balanced out. It's overblown. And it's creating chaos in our life at this point because the women are refusing to put up with that, is the sense. And we've not dealt with that correctly, is what they're giving me. Okay, I think we're done here. This card, I want it to be known. Okay, as we move on to the King of Cups energy, again, I feel like great passion and emotion is coming forward to this king. So if you're a king listening to this and you have a specific area in your life that is evoking great emotion, but you think, man, we have no past, we have no history, why am I feeling all these feelings? Or maybe I just met her, or maybe we're acquaintances, but my God, I can't get this person out of my head. I can't think of anything but her. This is what's going on. So on top of that card, we get Talisman of Potency, charging sacred objects of power. We may need to use charms, anything that we feel might give us more power in an area having to deal with our temper, they said. Because I feel like even though this is supposed to invoke in you feelings of love and compassion, everything is being overdrawn because we are in resistance of this energy. We do not understand this. This is why this would be illuminating for you. Because this story could overlay that and it would explain everything of why we have such strong emotions. Why? We may need to, invest in some kind of a power. Like they're showing me the necklace and also the snake on the top of her head. The snake on the top of her head, to me, is a symbol of discernment between good and bad, right and wrong. What's going to help me for my highest good? What's going to hinder me for my lowest low? And the ability to make those decisions. So there's a sense here that we've been gifted with that, or we have that along with us. So we may have guidance coming in from the spiritual realms. We may have highly emotional states that trigger us to make, or to illuminate us anyway, to make decisions. We may not be following that. We may be resisting that quite highly. So the sense they're giving me here is we may need help spiritually to get us in the right way here. To learn to deal, one, with our emotional center more efficiently, and secondly, to acknowledge all that is coming forth in the emotional center. So there's a need to stuff, and because this is not rational. This king, with all his emotions, it could be like that girl on the bus, and then you just can't get that person out of your head, and no way, no how. Like, you can't stuff it. And you're starting to think you're going crazy because it's like, this is way overblown. But the thing is, it's overblown in this life. And there is a need to temper ourselves. But it is because that this person evokes such feeling in us, because that is that person, that is that queen. Okay, moving on. So again, the talisman of potency, I feel like we may need help. We may need either a charm or something. If we're going to do it on our own, we're not going to make it. We need to reach outward to help. And the talisman, they're kind of saying, well, we can wear all the charms we want, but if we do not get any help as to how to deal with our emotional center, this is going to cause great problems, or is causing at this time. A frustration level here that's beyond. So as we move on to the King of Wands, which is, again, being illuminated to this connection in some way, some form. So again, we may have these dreams going on in our head, but the inability to correlate it, there's an inner sense that this is going to be illuminated over this period of time. Card on top of there we get is the Knot of Isis. Energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. Now, it's interesting to me how that is worded. The beloved is that person, that object that we can't get our emotions under control with. The stabilization is our responsibility to stabilize those emotional centers. Now, just having this information may soothe you down 50%, because suddenly we understand why. And the thing is, the reason that we are so fully charged in that area, because I feel a great resistance from the king in this life to pull back those emotions. That's not rational. That's not sane. What's going on with you? Stop it. Quit doing this to yourself. This is what I'm getting. The problem is, we're not looking at it from a heart-centered point of view. We're looking at it from a mental mindscape. And not only that, we're getting irritated and agitated and taking action in the wrong ways because of it. I feel like this queen is nowhere in the king's sight here. They have come across it. They have removed themselves from it. And now they're moving forward, and they can't get this person out of their head. Now, the problem here is the emotional stabilization of the king. Again, as I unfold this story for you, this could be very unburdening in itself. This could be the aha moment where, oh my God, that's why? And if we actually let that energy flow over us, it could relieve us of a lot of stress having to deal, because we're starting to think we're insane. We don't know what it is about this person. In fact, we're repelling from this person quite highly. And the universal flow is anti-repel, because what's going on here is this king is repelling from this queen in all areas. Get me away. This is not sane. This is driving me nuts. This is kind of what I'm getting. Because this man's not used to dealing with spiritual areas in their life. Now, what's... how do I express? Where do I start? It's kind of like... What's going on here is we need to stop the resistance. It's not like we need to go in there. We need to stop the resistance and let all of this downloading energy just wash over us. We just need to let it sit and wash and accept that this is what's going on. Now, this queen is off doing her own thing. She's being admired by someone in her future. Okay? she's kind of unaware of this. She's going on her own business, doing her own thing. And I feel like she's centered on the self, dealing with her own self-worth and moving forward in such a way. I feel like this king is just in fight mode. He's fighting all these emotions. He's fighting everything in his universe is turned upside down because he is in resistance of all of the energy he needs to accept. Now, the solution for this, give me a minute. The Knot of Ice is somewhat a play off of the Ankh, the life, this life, that life, whatnot. What's going on here is there's a resistance to move forward to that queen energy. And what that means is all of our past life karma, we killed this queen. In this life, we have to make up for it. The natural affinity towards this person is love, compassion, caring. I want to look after you. I want to give you everything I have. The reason that is there is because there is a karmic debt that needs to be paid. The reason it is so high is because it was so bold in that life. There was no resolution in that lifetime whatsoever. This man did not work after he killed that queen. He was in his ego, and that created more debts for him. So in this lifetime, the drive to please this person is higher. It is more. And I'll tell you too that the queen dealing with this king is going to have an uneasy feeling no matter, because of her soul memory. This man killed me. Even though I didn't have time to think about it, I didn't have time to be scared. I was just shot and that was it. So in a sense, there was no build of the panic before she died. She doesn't have a lot of build up for the fear. But her soul knows that I don't like you. There's something about you that is wrong to me. So there's going to be a resistance there. But it's on a lower level. Okay? Now again, this king is in high resistance to pay off any karmic debt whatsoever. This is creating havoc in his world at this time. And the reason is because he owes a debt to this woman. He refuses to pay it off. Now, what's going on here is the energetic stabilization needs to happen. If one person refuses to pay the debt off, I mean, I'm seeing bombs go out, explosions. It's going to create explosions for that person in resistance. It is creating. We are going down that road, is what I'm being told. This is why we may need a lot of energetic assistance, because we are not following the path that we are being led spiritually. So there's a high resistance to listen to our instinct. There's a high resistance to block our emotional center. There's high resistance. Okay? As we move into the Queen's energy here, again, being looked upon by someone from the future. The Isis card we get there is the Temple of the Carnelian entering the fierce belly of Sekhmet. And it's interesting that Sekhmet is a cat, and how my cat was screaming. That's just a synchronicity for me, I think, about that cat. Because this cat is, she's quite interesting, and she does different things to illuminate me to things. And even though she's a cat, it's interesting. So anyway, as we move into the energy of that, the carnelian is a gemstone. It's an orangey type kind of gemstone that some say can bring about help with self-esteem. This may be also, when we talk about talismans, that's charms, things that you can carry with you that help you in some way. The carnelian may help this person. It's like, kind of like, if you know what an amethyst looks like, it's kind of like that, but with orange. Orangey kind of white. Like a creamsicle orange. This could help someone energetically. It can ping a frequency to help build this in some kind of way. There's a sense of deep healing in this area. And I feel like this goes to the Queen as well. I feel like the masculine could use this energy to help empower him in the right ways, or spark in his sacral chakra a healing energy. Now for the Queen, I feel like she is working on this herself, along with spiritual energies and whatnot. And this is being illuminated outside of her. There's people that may be noticing her change in frequency, or her attention to detail, or just picking up on her energy nonetheless. Yeah, it's a temple of great self-healing and building of self-worth is the sense that I get. And that's where that Queen is at this point. Okay. Now, as we move forward into the masculine and feminine energies, okay, we're going to start with the feminine as per usual. And we'll get into her energy and see where this brings us into the present here. What mostly, again, there's a high sense of peace and calm with this Queen, and there's a high sense of looking inward, trying to fix or correct any anomalies there, is what they said. Anything that is out of whack, or something that we feel or that we see as a problem, we are going to try and fix that within the self, and we are highly guided to do so in order to move forward into our next relationship. Okay, one more shuffle and okay. So on top of the talisman of potency, again, a carnelian might help both of these, this King and Queen, in their respective places. But also I feel like the King may need to go out of their own source, meaning out of their own field, to find people to help them deal with their emotional centers. This is what is out of whack. If we gain control of our emotional states, we can slowly put our life back together, is the sense. On top of the talisman, the feminine card we get is home. Yeah. This masculine finds a deep... He needs to find his own home, first of all. Meaning, in the soul spiritual self. He needs to feel that he can be his own home. I feel like he has no sense of home. He may not know who he is spiritually. He may not have... He may have a sense of himself being in expectation of what everybody else wants. But what does he want for himself? I feel like this is void, null and void. There's not there. We don't know yet who we are, or we don't have a firm grip on that. We're rising to others' expectations, but what are our expectations, is what the universe said. What are our expectations of self? Start to answer those questions, and you will see that we are unable to do so because we have no sense of self. We just think of other people's opinions and what they expect of us, and we rise to that. So there's a sense of, first of all, home within the self needs to be reached for this King. I feel like this first pile is the King's energy, second pile, or the third pile, is the Queen's energy, and down the middle is kind of the fate of what is going on. And not only that, I feel like he feels a great sense of home within the Queen as well. But again, highly in resistance of this is the sense. Rejection of it. So as we move on to the Knot of Isis, again, the life that is lived here and now, I feel like there's a reunion coming. Now, when I first laid this card, I felt like we were reunited with this person in some way, shape, or form. And it may have been just to sit down at a dinner and then off we went. It may have been that. Or it may have been, a relationship that we had for a certain period of time that dissolved and off we went. But it is not here now, but there's some form of reuniting energy. There's a King of Wands here who's very passive and removed from this. So there's a sense here of not wanting to reunite from this King. Again, high resistance of this energy because we are confused as to, like, it's crazy. Like we think it's all crazy. So we don't understand it. We don't want to understand it. So we're just removing it from our field, is the sense. So on the night of Isis, this kind of like the past life energy is being illuminated to this king quite highly. On top of that, the feminine card we get is the Muses, inspiration. Look at how there's 3 women here. That's funny. And I'll betcha, well, they don't really show the hairs all kind of uniform. But one has got red hair for sure. The other 2 look brunette. Interesting. Something about the 3s here. We may have 3 strong relationships in our life or over our lifetime that we are kind of revolving around. Revolving door that we go back to these same 3 people and we break up and we circulate, or we just have 3 people in our life that are possibilities for, we just don't know what direction we want to take it. Which one. But, okay, there's that. And then there's the literal muse. I feel like the muse goes back to the queen. I feel like the queen inspires us quite highly in areas to do things in our own life. Though we will not, it's like we're stealing from the queen. The queen gives us energy and we steal it and we do not give back. I'm getting this. We take it and then we sit on our throne and we utilize it in whatever way we see fit. So an unfair advantage is what they said. This man has an unfair advantage over the queen energetically. Okay, we'll leave it there. Now as we move forward to the queen's energy, again, on top of the carnelian, a sense of building our own self-worth here to a degree. And we could be working on our own finances while someone is looking upon us doing the same. On top of that, we get the authenticity card, and that's interesting because that came up in the last reading. And that is really the energy that I'm getting. We're working on our authentic self. We want to be true to us before we be true to anyone else. This is all the things that we're dealing. And we're also dealing on a self-worth level, how to make sure that we, we take care of the self in a way that is not prideful, but in grace. I keep using that word because they keep sending it down to me. Earning our own self-respect in a graceful way is what I'm getting. Okay. So as we move forward here, we're going to expand from the Dreamer's Tarot on the feminine cards. And then we're going to get into the masculine cards and expand there as well. I'm just going to shuffle these. So yeah, home. Going back to the king's energy. He needs to find out where his home is. What feels comfortable to him. He needs to know these things about himself. It's like that movie, what was it? It's certain movies, as you grow up, they stick with you. But you remember Pretty Women? Okay. Well, the characters in Pretty Women, what was her name? I can't remember with the hair. And then Gear. I remember Gear. So there's those 2 characters. They also went on to make another movie about a wedding. And it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing because they just wanted to work together again, I think. But anyway, they made this other movie, The Runaway Bride. Yeah. And in that movie, this woman, she couldn't accept the love from this man because she didn't know who she was. She didn't know who or how she liked her eggs. She didn't know how she liked her eggs. She just would conform to every relationship that she had. She would be that person that they wanted, or she thought they wanted her to be. So she never had a sense of self or a sense of home. Where's my home? What do I like? She was always in relationships, and she would always, what do you call that? Mirror, what she thought they wanted. So it was only until, a spoiler alert, only until she come to know herself that she could truly fall in love with this man because she was a high resistance. Again, this would grate highly with that masculine energy. The king is going through this. He does not know who he is, so he does not know what he wants. So he has to figure out who he is, so that he can know where he wants to go. Because if he's got 3 women in his life, he don't know which one to pick. You go home. You go to yourself, you figure out who you are, then it will become clear. Then you'll go, yeah, that one doesn't match me. If I'm adapting my own principles or morals or, highly in those areas, or if I'm adapting my own self to things that I don't like, this is not your home. That's the thing. Like, we learn this in high school, but for whatever reason, this king does not have this energy in this life. It's been taken from him in some kind of way. It has to be built back up. How do we build it back up? We realize what we like, what resonates with us, and what doesn't. And we remove ourselves from what doesn't. And the funny thing is that this masculine is doing the opposite. He's removing himself from good-natured things. This could be some kind of a hex, or not a hex, but some kind of a mental state that we're in a negative way that creates havoc that we can't seem to clear up. Okay? So as we get onto the Dreamer's Tarot to expand on these energies of feminine, the home energy, again, feeling a great sense of home within this woman, but highly in resistance because we just don't know who we are and we're afraid and in fear mode. On top of that home energy, we get the King of Wands. There he is again, but that's in his positive pole. That's in his positive pole. Now this is in the past. No, interesting. And this is also his energy. It's his energy overall. We are someone who likes to get what they want. And we're used to getting what we want. And look at the lion and the couple. It's a couple. They're accentuating that there's a pairing here. But the king is not paired as of yet. This is the first in the row. Give me a moment here. Home. So we're trying to figure out where our home lies. And I feel like we may be going outside of ourselves to do that. We need to find our home within ourselves first. And it will be more clear where we need to go after that. Quit accommodating others and accommodate the self. And even though, not from an ego sense though, from a sense of what truly makes me happy, what truly makes me smile, what truly enlivens my heart. This is where you need to go. If we are pushing energy or approving ourselves or, trying to bolster, this is all in the wrong way. I feel like we are looking for our soulmate. I feel like that's the highest energy I get from here. But again, we need to work on the self here. Okay, as we go on to the muse, again, I feel like the king is taking energy from maybe not even just this queen, but other queens, and they utilize it for themselves, but they're not transmuting all of that energy properly. One, they're not giving back to where they take from in equal balance, and two, it's a lot of selfish energy, and we need to be selfish in a different kind of way, removing the ego. We're being selfish to an extreme degree, and we need to be, in a spiritual way, we need to be selfish. Not in a material way, not in an egotistical way, not in a way that I take from you and I don't have to give back, blah, blah, blah. You owe me, this kind of thing. I feel like they came in this life with that chip on their shoulder, and at some point it was accentuated by a situation that we had in our life at that time. And that sat with us. I feel like it's between the ages of, 16 and 25. In that area, we just, right away, we put that chip on our shoulder, and from there on in, it was just, we could not respect. Because again, we got to remember that there's a frequency of energy that comes in with you to repay this debt. If we refuse to do that, things can go quite awry, is really what I get. So anyway, on top of the Muse card, to accentuate here, we get the Page of Swords. Now the sword is down, so this is someone in contemplation, but not yet able to communicate outward. Yeah, and they're showing me the little tulips over there with yellow and red. And it's sort of like illuminating a flame within us. Again, needing help or someone to communicate that we trust. This may be a hard thing to find. Someone we want to communicate with that we can trust to keep our secrets. We have not found this yet. The Muse. There's a lot of thoughts and things going around in our head at this time, though we are unable to communicate them outward or not communicating them outward, simply out of our own choosing. So as we get on to the authenticity energy of the Queen here, what do we get there? We get the Ten of Cups. So the Queen is fated to gain emotional stability here, is the sense. That can be within the self or outside of the self as well. There is a castle here. It's interesting because they're going, notice the castle, King and Queen. So somewhere here she is going to connect with her king. And she's well on her way because she is being authentic to who she is as a character. Her character, this is the interesting thing that they show me. They show me in graphs and lasers and things that I can't translate so easily. The Queen, her character from that past life, the moment of death, right? We have to go up and do healing and stuff before we come back down to a certain degree, unless there's a suicide. Then that is an instant comeback. But, this is what I'm told. But, well, there's certain scenarios where that, there is some healing needs to be done, but still, it is a very close comeback. That's the quickest you're going to come back, is if you try and leave, which is, right? Interesting. It tells you something about how energy works. But nonetheless, as we, from the moment of death, from this past life, we returned into this life, we had to slowly, over time, build our self-esteem. And even though this was a light touch, we were not degraded to such a degree that we were having to build up from the bottom, but we're definitely about halfway there. And of course, as a child, you have all the memories, but none of the memories, meaning we don't understand why. We just feel with people. We're open. And as we grow, we learn to shut doors in areas that we shouldn't. This woman is slowly over time. They're showing me the cups and the way that they're rising in a graph. Like, think of that as a graph, or the castle's the bottom. This is the Queen building her self-esteem over time, building up from this past life tragedy. Even though it is subtle, they do not understand why. They're just slowly building out of it. Okay? Okay, as we move into the masculine cards here, we're going to deal with the King's energy. Well, both. It's dealing with both. But an ability to bring out the King's side of things here. I get a very obstinate energy still. A lot of my readings were coming with this energy, so it's gotta resonate with someone out there. It's just vibrating in this. It's not me, so it's gotta be you. Yeah, Ten of Cups. The ability here to gain our King is there, but let's see. Okay, as we go on the King of Wands, again, I do feel the King's energy. I get a very chaotic, I get very much an anger issue, I get very much a lot of complex feelings rumbling around in this King. But I do look at him too, as well. In the form of animals, the lion and the lioness being the symbol of the couple, that we can attain it, but highly removed from this. In the Ten of Cups for the female, she's right in it. So there's a sense of something going awry with this King of Wands. Yeah, weird. So on top of that energy, we get the fear card. Yeah, simply that. I was picking up on fear earlier, and this is accentuating that. There's a sense of fear holding this man back from everything. Now, I could psychoanalyze this to death. I'm not a psychologist, but, you know, an overthinker. You go into this and, you know, convolute everything. But I think this king has done his best to do this already in his mind. So anything from here on in is just going to be an answer to perpetual questions that we could not get answers to, we could not gain. In fact, any answers we got just did not feel right or correct or just for our field. Now, fear is what is blocking us. Simple as that. Now, it could be fear of the emotional center. That would be highly reflected here. The fact that this man is feeling great emotion. He does not know how to deal with this. He may have, you know, it's weird because we have the potential here from the King of Cups in the very beginning to have all these emotions, but how do we control them? There's an ability here to do that, but the way that we are acting is exacerbating that. It's not making it easier. It's making it harder. And it's fear that's holding all of this in tow. Okay, as we move on to the Page of Swords, again, a sense of, I don't know, a contemplation highly, what to do, where to go. We may have, the masculine may have up to 3 options in his field here, where he truly does not know which way is for his highest good. I feel like in order to figure that out, we have to know where we come from, and not from a selfish level of taking from someone else, but of a selfish level of knowing what we want and what we need. We do not know this at this point. It's hard to express in words. How does someone gain their own sense of self? Some people will say, well, it's just there. No, for some people it's not. We have to seek it out because we've lived all our life and trained ourselves all our life to accommodate others in certain types of way. That we lost our sense of self along the road. And I feel like that moment, that confrontation, that trigger where we lost, that's when we put that chip on our shoulder. And that's when our life started going in a different trajectory that created havoc for us. We may have seen it as an asset to us, but it's actually to our detriment. So as we move on to that Page of Swords energy, high contemplation is where this king is at, trying to figure it all out. We have the green man talking about abundance. Now that's interesting because it connects highly with nature, right? There's leaves and whatnot here. The green man to me is always connect back to nature. That will fulfill your heart. Maybe that's a bit of home that we need to spend more time in. Do we have a home in the country? Do we have a place where we feel calm and serene? Gravitate to this. This will help your thoughts and processing of thoughts. I do feel a need, they're saying, we need to remove ourselves from these 3 people. There's 3 people here. We need to remove ourselves in order to gain clarity and power over our own opinion. Because it's like we're being pulled in different directions is the sense that I get. And we're thinking while all these people are yammering at us from different perspectives. When we have to be thinking not about their thoughts, but about our own thoughts. What really dig deeper into our own field. And also too, on another level, I get the green man about abundance. I feel like that's the universal energies wanting to connect. I feel like they can connect higher, closer, more profoundly with you in nature. I feel like our brain is in the right vibration when we are in nature, whether that's a river, a lake, a beach, a forest, a hiking trail. All of these things contribute to a better mindset. We need to gravitate to those areas so we can gain our wisdom, because this is where the downloads happen for this masculine out in there. So you may even be a hunter and go out in the woods. They will download you with stuff there, and we will receive it, and we will be able to see quite clearly. Again, we have to remove ourselves from the clutter. There's too much clutter coming at us, trying to change our mode of mindset, our mode of activation. Too many people around us trying to pollute us. Warning, they said. Because we are going to follow one of those paths, and we really need to know that that's a path that we ourselves want to follow, or we're just following the Joneses, right? So the abundance, again, get into nature, get closer to nature, be where you feel more calm and collected, and that vibration will be matched by the universe, and they will give you more highly clues and intuitive nudges to help you along your way. Now, as we move on the Ten of Cups and the Queen's energy, what do we get there from the masculine side? Eros, love, yeah. There is a great love here that's being covered up by an indirection that we choose to take. We're choosing to disrupt the field of a natural process of love to go in this way, out of fear, for one, and out of, yeah, it's everything we want, but we're treating it as if it's everything that we hate, because we are emotionally imbalanced. To a degree, we cannot accept this in our life. We do not feel worthy of this love. And the universe does not put things in your place or make you feel these things as highly if you are not worthy of them. So we are fighting this because our self-esteem is not in the right place. Our fear is too high. This is all part of that. I do feel the universe wants you two together. I do feel that you need to put work in to get yourself to a calm, meditative state in order to receive the downloads on a more consistent basis. Eros, love, Ten of Cups. Okay, now we're going to expand on that masculine energy here with the Pulp Tarot and see what comes out to expand on the fear. Yeah, this King of Wands, he's in his ego because he is highly in fear, and his self-esteem is so low that the ego he feels is protecting him, but it's actually destroying everything that he truly wants on a heart-centered level. And the ego is going to have to be, it's going to be very painful if it continues forward. They're going, if we will not allow this. This ego is going to have to come crashing down. And the more that we resist, or the more that we don't turn that tide over and release to our sense of being humble. Not even to the Queen. The Queen has nothing to do with it. This is being humble to the energies that want the best for you. It's like a mother coming and saying to a child, don't run across that road, Frank. There's too much traffic. You're going to get hurt. So the kid goes running, barreling through. It's like almost, yeah, dare to hit me. The universe will not protect you when you go in chaotic energy in this way. We need to zen out. We need to quit being anti. It's like someone's just being anti for the sake of creating chaos. I don't know if we've got some kind of, yeah, there's some kind of a mindset here that needs to be removed. Blocking us. It's taking us into the fear zone. We got to lift the fear. What's the worst that can happen? Well, it is happening, is what they said. The worst is happening, and we don't realize that we're not doing ourselves good, that we're self-destructive. We don't realize this. And if we don't realize it, how can we change it? So this is self-destruction is what it is. 1, 3 more. Because they said some will be successful, though we will be by their side to pick them up at the bottom. They are continuing until they hit rock bottom. So, King of Wands, on top of that energy, from the Pulp Tarot, we get the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, and again, greed here. This is very much the epitome of greed. So this may have a focal point in your life. We may be letting greed run the show. We may be in fear that someone may harm us in a financial way, and we may be in fear of losing our finances. Now, Let's move to the next one, the Green Man of Abundance. Again, I get a great sense of the universe wanting to connect with us, but we are not in the right vibration. But being out in nature, whether you're a hunter, whether you're a hiker, whether you're a scenic viewer, you need to be in this area to connect, because this is what grounds us the most and keeps us in a vibration where we can be connected to. So do this more often, and we will gain more answers and more wisdom in the areas we need for our highest good. We're not going in our highest good. Abundance, the Fool. Yeah, again, and then we can go rushing off into new areas, but I do feel this Fool energy goes back to this energy of money as well. As we are very chaotic in our energy field having to do with money. We are willing to take any and every chance that comes across our path. We need to be more methodical. We need to invest less in the desperation aspect of money in our lives. We need to look at money as not a stressor. Very much at this time, and it may be because our money is leaving us that we are stressing, but we need to just be calm and have hope. Not hope, they're saying, is not the right word. This does not fly with this person, but we need to have the sense that things will get back up. We have to have some kind of faith here, because we're coming from a deficit of, I got to take all the money, like a looting behavior. Again, I'm getting this. Like I'm going to smash and grab because, it's the end of the world and nothing, it's like a tragic energy, a fear-based energy. This is not what's going on. And it could be, if we continue in this energy, it is starting to go in this way. It's what they're telling me. But we really have to calm thyself in order to flip our field around. And if we continue to gain emotions out of control, so will our finances. So the Fool, now I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go on the Love card here. Again, the Queen's energy, there's a sense of the universe wanting to get you together, but high resistance from the King. On top of that, we get the World card. It's interesting because it came out reversed. They want me to acknowledge that. So that's a lack of completing a cycle here. And what the problem is there's a lack of this King to repay this Queen the karma, and therefore our cycle will not end. The cycle that we're in will just keep repeating. Man. Give me a minute here. I feel like I need more. Oh, they said, yeah, bring the romance cards back and we'll show you the trajectory. Again, this is a snapshot of this exact moment, with this exact mindset, with this exact frequency. Somebody can change their mind about something having heard through this reading and change the trajectory. But for right now, the trajectory is as it sits here. I'm just gonna shuffle. And we're going to see where these two end up. Because the sense here is this King is in too high resistance to be able to go back to that Queen. And not only that, he has too much to learn about himself and what he truly wants in order to go forward successfully. And I will tell you this, if you are making progress, you will notice in your financial sector, it will start to rise. Things will start to fall into place. Things will be less hard to deal with. Things will start to, it'll be free-flowing. If we are not, there will be chaos beyond chaos, and things will be coming. And I'll tell you, it's going to be hard-hitting in the ego department, because I feel like the ego is the number one block, the fear is the second block, and the self-esteem is the third block. So this person has to get on the train. And these are things that usually we learn over lifetimes. So something blocked this person from advancing in a way naturally. Something took them out of the trajectory spiritually, where they didn't advance. They just stayed still in their field. And they're showing me the age of 19 again. this is where our mentality sits. This is where our emotional field is. So we are above that. We are well above that, is what they're saying. So there's a lot of catching up to do that is on top of the fact that we have certain things we want to accomplish that can't be accomplished. And it takes lifetimes to get. So it's really something, yeah. So there's a lack of a completion with this queen. That's the bottom line. This king refuses because there's an emotional immaturity, fear, and of going in a new direction. They are going back to their past and dealing with things the old way, and there's a new energy and frequency that wants to open up. They're refusing that as well. So for the romance cards here on top of the Four of Pentacles, what do we get? We get the Queen of Wands. It's interesting because they're showing on the table here, she's looking up at the money that we carry. We may be with a Queen of Wands, or we may come across a Queen of Wands in our future that is highly invested in us, having to do with our money, or maybe the cause of our financial woes, is what they said. Because they're not letting me let go of that guy's stressful face here. Like he's like, my money. Where's my money? Like he's digging in there trying to find money. And the Queen has something to do with this. Okay, as we move forward, the Fool, again, going back to our old ways. Again, we may be greedy with money. We may have a Queen here that has something to do with our life at this time. On top of the Fool, we get the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups here in this card is about waiting for things in our present. Waiting for things to change. It's like they're waiting for a cab after they've been to the cabaret to take them home. And the sense is I don't know if this person is no longer waiting. They're going in their path. I feel like this king has removed himself from going forward to the Queen. He will not allow himself to do that. Not only will he not pay off the debt, but he doesn't care to go in that direction any longer. He wants to go back to where he was. And it may have been a Queen of Wands that he was with. So he is investing in that. Financially is the sense. Now, as we move to the World card, again, lack of completion, they want me to accent that. There's an inability to pay off the karma for this Queen. So on top of that, we get the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is the sarcophagus. And that's the coffin of death. That's talking about, heavy, heavy, heavy feelings like a death. Like we can't deal with things here. And I feel like that's why the king won't go back to the Queen. Is because they may be illuminated to so much emotion that they themselves cannot deal with it. So they are going into a self-destructive pattern that they have opened up in the past. And though they're trying to run away from things, this is what I'm getting. I'm gonna do another. I feel guided to do another row here. Because this is kind of, I don't like leaving it on a bad note. Yeah, there's a refusal to pay off a karmic debt that, it's heavy. It's heavy. And the king is feeling it heavy. But a refusal to pay this, that's dire. It's dire spiritually. It's not going to be good. So let's expand, shall we? We got a Queen of Wands here. I feel like this is our past. That soothes us. We know how to deal with this. We know this is comfortable to us. It may not be happy, but it's comfortable. And we know we can do whatever we want here, and we just will be accepted for that. Okay, 3. Yeah, we're not wanting to grow our spiritual side at all. Alrighty. So on top of the Queen of Wands, again, this woman may have something to do with our finances. They may increase it or decrease it, but either way, or we may just be stressed about finances at this time. But either way, we have a Queen of Wands in our court here. And on top of that, we get the Four of Wands. There's someone we're married to. We may get married to is the sense. So that's a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sag. We may have been married. We may get married, remarried. This is someone we're going to stick with. This is our partner. Yeah, the King of Wands. Yeah. Yeah, because we are in fear of the future. We don't want to go there. Everything we see is creating fear in us. So we stick with what we know. Okay, and that's getting married to a Queen of Wands. We have someone in our field here that we, again, may not be the most for our highest good connection, but it's a connection that we understand 360. So that's what we're sticking with. We do not understand the Queen. It's just an overflow. It's too much in that direction. So we're avoiding that. So on top of the Fool energy, and again, this Eight of Cups, which speaks to waiting on something. These people are waiting not on a cab, but they're waiting on a carriage to take them to, home from celebrating in a cabaret. So they're just kind of biding time, right? As they move forward. On top of that energy, we get the Nine of Swords. Yeah, a lot of stress and anxiety about this. Yeah, because they're going, this is about moving forward to that energy. This is all the resistance. There's stress. We're waiting for things in our life to change somewhat. I feel like we're waiting for outside sources to change our life. And because it's not coming through, this is stressful. Yeah. Okay, as we move forward here to the sarcophagus, again, there's a completion here that wants to... The successful completion would be this man moving forward to this queen, repaying his debt, and they live happily ever after kind of thing. But the sense that I'm getting here is the character flaw that this man has of his ego and you serve me and da-da-da. The universe is protecting this queen. They will not allow her to be murdered in another lifetime. They will not allow this. This man is in that energy and he refuses to heal to a degree where he can gain with the king. So part of him, I think, knows that and is in self-destructive mode because there's nothing he sees or deems that he can do. When in actuality there is. He just has to go outside of himself to gain help on a trusted level from a trusted individual to go and get healing. But there's no want to do this. So it's very saddening in this person's life because there's an awareness that we want to be here, but an awareness that we can't. We don't have the tools. But the universe saying it's not that we can't. It's we choose to not put in the effort. So the Eight of Swords, on top of that, we get the Empress card, yeah. So this woman will continue in her abundance forward. Man, I want to keep going, but that's it. This woman, the king and queen, will not get together as I see it on this table here. This is not a timeline. And the sense that I get is this man has too much self-work to do. There's too much anger, bitterness, and resentment against the queen. In this life, there is that. It's carried over. This man never healed. And we may never have healed from a feminine distortion in this way. So we've got the feminine distortion we got to get through. We got to heal that and accept feminines for being loving, caring, compassionate individuals. And we also need to create boundaries to those that aren't in this mode. If we cannot stand up and create boundaries, that's part of the healing process, is to refuse to allow those people in our lives anymore. If we cannot do this from a self-esteem vantage point, we also lose the ability to heal in that direction as well. So there's a sense of a lot of areas being locked out. And again, this message was highly in resistance. We've risen above that field. So anything can be risen above if we focus our direction in that area, is what they want me to convey to you. Even though this looks like an uphill battle, even though it's not you know, this person's going, it's not worth it. I can't, you know, because of the anger and bitterness. Just slowly work on those things on yourself. And don't worry about the attainment of the queen or non-attainment of the queen. Just work on those abilities within yourself. And your life will start to come together to a degree. We may not get the queen, but we may become a king that is worthy of one. Okay? So I'm going to end it there, man. I don't even know how long this is going. But, yeah, a lot of frequency to get this reading out. So hopefully it helps you in some kind of way. And if it does, feel free to comment or share if you resonate with it. Or at least like, so I know what's going on here. Well, I know what's going on is the universe is trying to get a lot of partnerships together that are in high resistance. And even though these are partners that may have to pay off karma and may have to heal, all of this is in resistance. So those people that refuse to pay off their karma to those people that they are, you know, because this is everything in you wants to go in that way and you're resisting. So that's a lot of fight. We'd be extremely exhausted. Our mobility sites would be just drained to the max. Like it's a constant uphill battle with what do you call that? With an escalator going down while we're going up. Like it's just not going to get us anywhere. But the sense here is that if we see this or are illuminated to this in this 360, somehow this can get us one step further to healing in some kind of way, shape, or form. So this happens for you, at least like the video. I know a lot of people are not getting a hold of my videos, first of all, because of my political views, which I refuse to talk about anymore. It is quite prevalent in the world today that everybody's being hushed. This is also in the love direction as well, being, how would you say, destroyed. In the same way that our speech is being, you know, held back, this is the same way that these, you know, heart-centered couples are being resisted. So it's a constant internal fight to go against that and do the right thing for the highest good. Keep compassion in mind, for your highest good in mind, and go out in nature and connect with the energies. And this will help you along your path. It will help you gain the stability and self-worth once you gain that contact with your higher power. Take care, have fun, and be kind, and we'll talk to you soon.